Namaste. Welcome to Prana Stories. Yoga, as we all know, is an ancient Indian science. But the yoga that we get to see today is more focused on the body. That we keep seeing people doing yoga asanas, which is the physical exercises. But yoga is not just about the body and the asanas. Yoga is about connecting. Yoga is about healing. Yoga is about realizing a higher reality within all of us. Manasa Rao, she is a master of science in yoga. She is also a PhD in yoga biomechanics. In this podcast, we are not talking about yoga specifically because there is a lot of content already on yoga. We are talking about a very important topic, which is parenting, and how does yoga apply there. Term yogic parenting is what she uses. How to make the future generation or the current generation into global citizens. Global plus local. It's so important to have our roots intact and as well as contribute to the global cause as well. Tune into this podcast where Srimati Manasa Rao talks more about this in detail. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to Prana Stories for more such original content. Thank you for supporting so far. Namaste. Namaste Manasa ji.
Namaste, Praveen.
So happy that you are here in my studio. Welcome to Prana Stories.
Thank you so much.
I have seen you only in Instagram Reels, and where there is a lot of good content that you're putting out there.
Thank you so
in
much.
terms of the Indian traditions, Bharatiya culture, Bharatiya, especially the book recommendations that you do, and I know you as a thorough yoga practitioner and expert in yoga as well, right? I'm so very glad and happy that somebody like you is in my studio. Welcome to Prana Stories
Likewise.
once
Thank
again.
you so much. My pleasure.
And I also have seen you put a lot of content which are mostly related to parenting,
Yes.
right? Which is what I got intrigued much, because when there are a lot of guests who come on my show, and we keep talking about Bharatiya traditions, the Indian knowledge systems getting transferred or probably shared with the current generation or the newer generations to come, which always boils down to what are we teaching our kids,
Absolutely.
right? So according to whatever I have seen, this is my personal experience, people can maybe differ on that, but what I'm trying to say is that I have seen two kind of spectrums of kids today. The one extreme is that they are left completely free, unattended, and they are fully into gadgets and devices, and they are free to do whatever they want because the parents say, "मैं नहीं कर पाया तो I am letting my kid do whatever he or she wants." So that is one way of thinking. The other way of thinking is completely guarded, completely sheltered from all kinds of things that, it's like delicate care in, he falls, he trips and falls, he just fell, I have to take care of him,
Yeah.
too much attention. So there are, I think these are like two different spectrums that I have seen. Very rarely I have seen a sort of a balance between these two. So I like, you're a mother of a son. So I would like you to sort of highlight these things about how to balance, in terms of parenting. What do you do?
Yeah. See, to begin with, we need to understand that every child is unique. And so is every situation at home.
Yeah.
Today, the familial structures are very different, Praveen, from where we come from and what it is today. We have nuclear families.
Yeah.
And we have families where there are just single parenting, where parents are divorced, separated, where they co-parent. So the structures of family itself is very different today. So we need to understand parenting from that perspective and how much burden we are putting on a child's psyche. So what happens generally is that, like you rightly said, we tend to give our children what we missed in our childhood.
Yeah.
And in that process, we make the child feel very special
Yeah.
instead of making the child feel secure. What I mean by making the child, see, every child is special, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But putting the spotlight on extravagant birthday parties and expensive vacations as a means to make the child feel special, what happens in the process is that the child feels burdened because we are expecting, there are certain expectations from the child as well. So instead of making the child feel secure with a lot of love, with a lot of care, we are putting more expectations on the child. We are telling the child the world revolves around you. It's not true, isn't it? Instead, we need to make the child feel important, but at the same time, make them realize that you're just a speck of dust like any one of us in this universe. So that is the most important thing that we have to do as parents. Shift the focus from making the child feel special every single time. Rather than that, okay, what happens is also when we make the child feel special, see, children already have the burden of academic expectations.
Yeah.
Then there are some societal expectations. Then there is peer pressure. Then there is body image issues. And then there is, gender bias, gender discrimination at home. They're already battling a lot of emotional turmoil already. And their minds are so fragile today.
Yeah.
So in order to handle that bottled up emotions, we can't be putting more pressure on them, more burden on them as parents.
Yeah.
We need to ease that out slowly. That is our job.
How do we do that?
So what I would say is that it's a process. Parenting is like walking on a tightrope. One extra word, okay, to the child, you might burden the child, okay, it might not go well. Or just one extra action, you might be sending wrong signals to the child. So it's difficult to be a parent in today's world, and it is difficult to be a child also in today's world, if we look at it. So to have a child, to nurture a child who is loving, at the same time resilient, is a constant work. It's constant work for years.
Yeah.
So that we need to realize. So there are no quick fixes, like I keep saying, you need to be on your toes, you need to be alert. And there are so many sensory stimulations in today's world.
Yeah.
So we need to be very vigilant of that as well.
Yeah. Like I said, the first spectrum of let my child do whatever he or she wants, there is a danger of the child feeling entitled.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
That I have, because they make the child the center of everything.
Yes.
Then they say, I can do anything, you are supposed to serve me. That kind of an attitude comes in, and then the child grows with the same attitude throughout. And even as an adult, they start behaving that I am this.
See, when reality hits them in the outer world is when the real game is,
Yeah.
because you make the child feel special inside the four walls of your house, but once they step out, they realize that it's not true.
True. Yeah.
The world doesn't revolve around them anymore. So you need to ground a child every now and then.
Yeah.
With, you need to inculcate that compassion in them. So that needs to be done at home.
Yeah. We will discuss about how to do this, maybe
Yes,
some baby steps in
absolutely.
the end of it.
Yes.
But what I wanted to complete is that once they realize that they hit a wall,
Yes.
then is what mental health issues begin,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they will start feeling lonely and depression and all these things happen. So all the modern day things are mostly in the fields of, the illness is mostly in the areas of loneliness,
Yes.
in the area of mental health and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I think this is, and we could see that teenagers are the most affected, because
Yes.
one of the psychologists was here and she was saying that they are the most affected in all of this, because they don't know
Yes.
adults, they can't be adults, they can't be
They are
kids.
neither.
Yeah.
They are in between. Yes.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
in between, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other spectrum, where I have seen in many cases in my own sister's son and his friends circle, that there is a guarded kid who has to perform, like the pressure is there,
Yeah.
who has to perform in school, who has to perform in the college, 99.99 percentage.
Yes.
And what he's supposed to do, he is supposed to do engineering, he's supposed to do whatever, right? It was there 20 years ago.
Yes.
It is there even now also, in different streams. That this is
Yes.
where, this is also one spectrum of parents that are
Absolutely.
there, and they want the kid to be materially successful. They want the kid to go to foreign universities. This foreign university thing, I'll come to that later.
Yeah.
But they want them to go to Harvard. They want
Yes.
them to be like Sundar Pichai. They want them to be
True.
like successful as CEO and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
That is also another extreme. What do you have to say about that?
See, I'll start with the schooling part.
Yeah.
As parents, we should stop thinking that all the work will be done by the school. That is, see, the child is hardly in the school for like 6 to 7 hours in a day. The rest of the 17 to 18 hours, the child is with us,
Yeah.
isn't it? That is where the real work needs to be done. So why do we send the child to school? We, of course, to learn some content or some subjects which will have some utility in the world outside. Today we give hefty amount as fees.
Yeah.
Okay, because today parenting is not just stressful; it is also expensive. Just because we pay that kind of fee, we expect the school to do everything.
Yeah.
So once they come back home, we feel that they need to relax. That all the work is done at school. But it is not true. See, another thing is, I feel that when it comes to parenting, the golden period for any child is the first 3 years. Okay, of childhood, 0 to 3 is the golden period. It is such a beautiful period, Praveen, that the child can absorb things like anything, because 90% of the brain development happens in those 3 years.
Yeah.
Of course, the development continues, spills over to
More than,
teenage
yeah.
years, but 90% of the brain development is in this, happens in this 3 years
Yeah.
of the child's life. So what happens, in the process is that the child's aptitude for language, vision, thinking, analytical thinking, all these things are developing in those 3 years.
Yeah.
What are we doing? We are exposing the child to gadgets, to screen time.
Yeah.
In the process, we are just killing that curious mind. Okay. It so happens that there is something called neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
So the brain keeps wiring and rewiring itself to form stronger pathways, neural pathways.
Basically patterns.
Patterns. So if we make the child learn things in life, okay, the sensory inputs are such that it is towards development of the brain, it will be wonderful. But through gadgets, through screen time, what we are doing is we are overloading the child's brain and mental functioning. In fact, see, you might have seen that infants sleep more than adults, isn't it? Why? Because the neural connections are getting consolidated during sleep. The neural pathways consolidate. So when there is lot of load on the brain and there is not enough sleep to rest it out, what happens is when the child wakes up, it is not rested well. It starts showing tantrums. And it's irritated. And we start labeling the child that it is stubborn. So whom to blame in the process? So see, these are the couple of things, that, it's, we find the easy way out. We think that, okay, I didn't have this learning through mobiles or learning through YouTubes and things like that. Let my child experience it. But we don't realize the pitfalls of this process.
Correct.
So what I would say is that we, as parents, we need to curate their offline experiences. So our job is to see how we can engage them offline, with offline experiences, nothing to do with online. So there are two kinds of attentions. One is automatic attention. The other one is directed attention. So what is that automatic attention? Where you can automatically focus on something, like for example on social media or some video or something you just see on the mobile or on screen, you immediately, it will grab your attention. That's automatic attention. Now there is something called directed attention. Directed attention is focusing on, like, reading a book. It requires focus in one direction. Tell me how many houses today, you see book racks or just, books in the living room or in the bedroom or whatever. We don't see that enough. Unless the child sees that it is available there, it will never pick it up.
Correct.
It has to see that, look, it's something is there. I can use it. At least let it just pick it up. Let it just see through the pictures. That itself is fine. So these are a couple of things that we need to keep in mind.
So I mean, this is actually it has become a universal problem as of now, because even the adult population, very few actually read books, right? And obviously that, and even the attention span that you mentioned is the same issue even with the adults also. Even while we are all on Instagram, we see, I keep posting so much of content on the internet. I can see how much attention they give to certain things. If you put a polarized content, that is when they give attention. If you put a very normal
I have seen this in the last 10 years, Praveen. We had content which was say half an hour content. Then it came to 15 minutes. Then today we have 1.5 minutes to even that is longer.
That is long, So, and
it is difficult.
One more incident that I remembered when you mentioned competition. Because we spoke about the child being in a very competitive world. So this is an incident that happened to myself. I was that kind of a kid who used to come first in the class, and I was always in that competitive kind of a thing, because obviously it was peer pressure, that this, and you could say that I was also pushed to be that kind of a person. Now when we started working, after a lot of years after that, after college, and when we started working, there was a person who came as a HR person. He gave us a problem, and everybody were there. He gave us a problem and he said, what is the solution for this? And he gave each of us one piece of paper and pen. Everybody started writing. Stuff like that, but nobody could get the answer correct, because what he said was, immediately when I gave the problem to you, your conditioned mind went into, I want to solve this.
Yes.
Everybody closed their paper, and then it's the same condition that we have from school.
Yes.
That I want to write this. But he said, because it was a team building exercise, he said the answer is a collective answer. Because the question that he gave was in 3 parts or something, and the answers were in the collective. So if you had discussed, you would have got the answer. So it was like we are in the condition of competition.
Absolutely.
So I was thinking, for 10, 15 years, we are in the psyche of competition. And suddenly now, after you join a job, now you're saying teamwork. That won't happen, right?
Absolutely. See, the thing is, what we need to remember is competition as such is not bad. But the mindset with which we are competing can create performance anxiety.
Yeah.
So if we know where we stand, okay, and if we it's like karma yoga.
Yeah.
We need to put in our best effort and just leave it at that. And if we can do that effectively, nothing like it. And another aspect to competition is, if you look at the other spectrum, it is what we call as contentment. So is contentment good, or is competition better? You need to be contented to be happy, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need to know, okay, I have this, I'm capable of this, I have a sense of gratitude also towards what I have.
Yeah.
If competition is coming from a place wherein I need to perform my best, it's lovely.
Yeah. I mean, there should be a collective goal of something, and then you do put in your best. That should be the thing that. Okay, while we were talking about schools, we were talking about all these mindsets that are there, and even the kind of content that we are consuming and all that. There is at least from a Bharatiya perspective, when I go to different places, different houses, and when I see the kids interacting and all that, right? The thing is, I keep saying this, that now I can't unsee things, because I feel we are all colonized to such an extent, that colonized minds, right? When I mean colonized, I think the audience will understand. This is like we were under the rule of the Europeans for a long time, and before that the Middle Eastern consciousness, and all this we are like a sandwich civilization between different cultures and different things. And ultimately the schools that got established were all based on European methods of education, European ways of teaching.
Yes.
Right? So that has done don't you think that has done a big damage to our to the upbringing itself?
See, today we are talking in English.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So we need to understand
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I'm not...
No, the thing is, it's a language of communication.
Yeah.
That's all. So we need to look at a language as a medium of communication.
Yeah. But I just to interrupt.
Yes.
If we treat it as a language of communication, it's good. But in my childhood, I think pretty much in every school today, or probably even in some areas, that it's worn as a badge of honor. English. If I speak English,
Yes.
it's like a proud thing to do, right? That was the thing even in our school days. That
It was just the colonial spillover.
that's what. Yeah. Please continue.
Like I told you, that 6 to 7 hours of school time, learning English, good. Reading in English, fantastic. But at least when children come home, they need to speak in their native language. That much needs to be done. Whatever the native language is, it has some flavor to it. It has some culture to it. It fine-tunes the way we think.
Yeah, correct. It's all about upbringing, right?
Yes, it's all about upbringing.
Yeah. So, in all of this, now let's come to your area of expertise, which is yoga. Now, there's a term that is coined, right? I don't know whether it is you or whether it is already there. Yogic parenting, right? So you're combining yoga and parenting into a stream which is beneficial for the upbringing of kids, right?
Yes.
And I feel that is very, very, it's a very profound way of doing things. Like there are scores of ways that are on the internet that, you parent it this way, you parent that way. There are many people saying whole lot of different things. It's like diet on the internet, right? There's so many kinds of
Everybody has a tip.
keto diet, that diet, fruit diet. It's like that. So
Yes.
parenting also has
Too much on the plate.
So what is this yogic parenting?
All right. Instead of just defining yogic parenting, I will define that through a story.
Sure.
Okay.
That's
So there was this rishi called Rishi Yajnavalkya.
Okay.
So when his wife was about to deliver a child,
Mm-hmm.
he tells his mother-in-law that just before you cut the umbilical cord of the child, after the child comes out of the mother's womb, you need to call me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the mother-in-law says, fine. So the rishi is called, and after the baby is born, before they cut the umbilical cord. So the rishi holds the baby in the hand and he whispers something into the child, to the child's ear.
Years. Okay.
Yeah. And this mother-in-law is looking perplexed. What is he trying to tell this child, in the ear, which cannot even understand anything? What is this? What is happening? So after the umbilical cord is cut, she goes to the rishi, Yajnavalkya, and she asks him, what is that, that you whispered into the child's ear? That is when he says, Bhadram karnebi shrunuyama devaha, Bhadram pashyai makshabirya chatraha, sthirairangai stuštuvagum sastanubihi, vyashema devahitam yadayuhu, swastina indro vriddashravaha, swastina pusha vishvavedaha, swastina starksho arishthanemihi, swastino brahaspatir dhadatu.
Okay.
This is a beautiful Shanti mantra, okay, which means that may we all hear that which is auspicious. May we all see that which is auspicious. And may we develop that steadiness in the body and mind. And may we use this entire lifespan at the service of God.
Okay.
Now, this is yogic parenting. What it means is, it gives us the guidelines for yogic parenting. So, which means that let the child be exposed, let the senses be exposed to all the auspicious things. Let the child develop that steadiness in the body and mind. What more, we need to wish for the child?
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And also he says that, and she was like, okay, you could have told this after the child was born. What was that importance of doing it before cutting that umbilical cord? He says that once the umbilical cord is cut, the child becomes an individual. He or she becomes an independent entity, and we have no control over that. So I wanted to pass on this wisdom to the child when it is connected to us. So today, when we feel that we have control over our children, we need to rethink
this.
Yes, because their gunas are propelling them to behave in a certain way. All we can do is fine-tune that by making them realize every single day on how they function in the world around. That is yogic parenting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, this story sort of keeps a guideline all the time, and you can always go back and see where all it is sort of matching. That's amazing. So then keeping this as the guideline in day-to-day lives, like for example, an audience who is watching it, yes, there is a story to be followed, yes, there is a guideline, yes, all of that, but in my day-to-day life I want you tell me baby steps to do this. Like in my day-to-day, my child is doing that, my child is doing this, I don't know how to control, I don't know. You give me all these idealistic stories. I can't. My husband is not there. So I can't keep these stories to. And my mother-in-law is there. She has a different way of saying it. So the child is in between. Even the parent, right? They are in between two different worlds. There is an old world. There's a new world. All of these. Then there is this guideline that comes. They said, okay. Abhi ek guideline bhi follow karna padega. That's what they say, right?
Yes.
You understand the dilemma that is there. So how do you do this in baby steps, right?
Yes, very interesting. We need to understand first that everything in life is a choice. We keep everything, every day, we are making choices in life.
Yeah, at every step there is a choice.
Every step there is a choice. There are two choices in our lives. Mainly, it falls into two categories. What we call as Preyas and Shreyas.
Okay, Preyas and Shreyas.
Preyas and Shreyas.
Okay.
I'll explain what this is. So, Preyas is that which is pleasant and that which is transitory, that which gives you immediate happiness.
Okay.
But Shreyas is something which gives you long-term happiness. And it is everlasting. Whether you choose Preyas or Shreyas is in your hands. Preyas, we can correlate that to the neurotransmitter dopamine. And Shreyas, we can correlate that to neurotransmitter serotonin.
Okay.
Yeah, one is reward giving.
Yeah.
The other one is giving you everlasting happiness. So, every step in parenting, you need to ask yourself, when the child asks you, can I do this? Is it good for the child at that point of time? It might be good for the child at that particular point of time, but not in the long run. We need to make such, however hard the choices are, we need to make those choices. And that can be another guideline for yogic parenting. Making choices for those, or not just we making the choices for children, making children understand this concept and asking the child, do you want to do this now? Like, do you want to have this particular food, which you'll feel nice, it's nice for the tongue. But is it good for you in the long run? Eating too much of that in the long run, is it good for you, good for your health? So you need to have that conversation with the child. That conversation, when is given a pass is when we face a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So we are what we are doing is, this is a generation where we are pressed for time. There is starving.
Yeah.
We are time starved,
Correct.
and that's a reality. And we just make choices whatever occurs to our mind first. We don't put too much thought into making those choices.
Yeah.
So every choice, see whether is it an immediate good or is it an everlasting good. In fact, this concept is from Kathopanishad, where it is said that fools choose preyas. It is only the intelligent ones who go for shreyas.
Yes.
So we need to take that path.
Yeah.
It is, see, we need to arrive at it. Every choice that we make, keep asking yourself, is it good for my child now, or will it have repercussions later? Yeah.
Yeah. So, like you were saying, time is a big factor.
Time is a big factor, and also we want everything quick, instantly.
Yeah. And also,
it's like we are just watering the entire garden with buckets of water and expecting it to bloom. It does not happen.
Correct.
The root needs to be nourished. The root needs to be watered little by little, every single day, so that one day you can reap the benefits of it.
Yeah, and I also think because time is an issue with most of the parents, they think solutions can be found in outsourcing things.
Yes.
Like, for example, the talk time that you mentioned, it's generally given to no offense to therapists and
yes.
Psychologists who work with kids, but the time is outsourced to therapists.
Yes.
And kids do like talking to therapists because they give importance to them. They hear their problems, they give solutions to it and stuff like that. And kids are looking forward, instead of the parent. It's unfortunate.
Absolutely.
They look forward to the therapist.
Yes. The culprit here is technology.
Yeah.
Because of technological interventions, we don't have time for the child. We don't realize that. I'll tell you what I used to do. There's some little tricks that I used to. Yeah. So when I used to drive, when my son was really young, he was about 2 or 3 years old. So what do parents do? Like, say, for example, I'm driving and the child is next to me. What is the instinct that, we generally parents tend to do? We'll just put some music, or we'll just give a gadget. We'll just say, okay, just...
Don't disturb me, I'm driving.
Don't disturb me, I'm driving. You just watch something on your iPad or whatever, your phone. But what I used to do, Praveen, is that I used to chant.
Mm-hmm.
I used to drive. I used to tell my child that, look, I used to have different chants. Every journey used to be different chants. I'll say Hare Krishna. You have to say Hare Rama. If I say Hare Rama, you have to say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The opposite of that. You're keeping the child's mind engaged. Okay. And I used to have, of course, different chants, on different journeys.
So that the child is not bored.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And after some time, I used to say, look, just count how many restaurants you see on the road, how many red vehicles you see on the road. I used to adopt these little tricks just so that I don't introduce the child to the screen.
Right.
I feel all parents should refrain from introducing screen, any kind of, whether it is television or mobile or anything, till the child turns 2 at least. I would say till 4.
Till 4, yeah.
But at least till 2 years of age, please don't introduce them to any kinds of gadgets.
Yeah.
There is so much to do in today's world. There are so many. It's just that you have to give it time. You have to sit with the child. You have to play, because there is that larger family is not there supporting you. It's a DIY bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes to diet also.
So, yes, absolutely. Now, food time is screen time.
Yeah.
Play time has been
converted to
screen time. there is absolutely no communication for the child. So because I feel really sad for the children today because we start labeling them as being stubborn, not being attentive,
Yeah.
not being focused. Why? It is our mistake.
Our mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually a collective mistake.
Yes.
Collectively, whatever happened and all around, the entire collective is doing wrongdoing that the child is suffering through, and then we blame the child that you are not being attentive and stuff.
Yes. It shows on their academics as well.
Yeah.
And with all social interactions, like you said, today the child doesn't have an emotional support at home. Why? Why the child does not feel like talking to the parents is because we have not made that effort to connect.
Yeah.
And that connection is not in place. So the child looks for connections outside of home.
Yeah. Oh, good. So we spoke from different spectrums, and then we gave some action items that people can follow. And I mean, it's definitely their choice what they sort of do. I think you gave guidelines of how to go about it. I'm sure it'll definitely help.
Yes.
At least people who are keenly listening to at least this podcast.
Yes.
Right.
See, when it comes to yogic parenting, there are certain steps that we need to follow.
Sure.
One is, of course, the choices that which I spoke about. The most important thing is yogic diet for the child.
Yeah, the food.
Yeah, the food is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because what we eat is what we are.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Love towards child is not buying or stuffing their system with junk food.
And sugar.
And sugars.
And complain that their energies are high.
Yes. Love is when you give them good sattvic food.
Yeah.
That we need to understand. See, today India has become the diabetes capital, almost the diabetes capital of the world. Why? Because of the sedentary lifestyle, of course, but also because of the processed food. And today we are just ordering online recklessly, I would say. All that adds up, to children being obese, not being attentive, not being alert, because the food that they're eating is not supporting their mental well-being. Yeah. So we need to give them food. What do I mean by sattvic food? Sattvic food is that food which is freshly cooked, okay, which has, see, it's very simple. I can give you a lot of definitions for sattvic food. But if you want to know, okay, whether the food on my plate is sattvic or not, you just have to put this thought in your mind. Can I offer this food to the God out there? To the external God? We do this naivedyam.
Yeah.
Can I do the naivedyam of this particular food to the God? If I can do naivedyam to the God, then it is sattvic food. We don't give stale food to God. We don't do the naivedyam of pizzas and burgers.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So the same food that you offer to the God outside of you, you need to offer to the God inside of you.
Yeah.
That is sattvic food. Another aspect of it is sleep. Having, a proper, tuning ourselves or aligning ourselves to the circadian rhythm is very important. Because the brain, there is a particular hormone called the growth hormone, which gets released from the pituitary gland during the sleep.
Yeah.
And this is at the physical level of the child. But at the subtle level, the energy is getting recharged. We need to give it that time.
No, I mean, it is also, again, it is said as a badge of honor that मेरा बच्चा सोता ही नहीं है, उसको बहुत एनर्जी है.
Yeah.
It's like they keep saying that, he's very energetic, he doesn't sleep only, he doesn't let us sleep. It's like very, proud
Yes, yes.
moment for them, but then they are probably not realizing that it is hampering.
Okay, if there is a situation like that, what do you do? Okay, the best thing to do is teach the child belly breathing.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a small baby, then you just put a small, tiny toy on the baby's abdomen
Nice.
and tell the child. So, what I used to do is when I wanted my child to sleep and have a deep sleep, there was a small duck toy. Okay, so I used to place it on his tummy, and then I used to say, "Look, this duck needs to go on the waves." Okay, so when you inhale, the tummy should come up, the duck will come up. When you exhale, the duck is moving, so it's moving on the waves. So there is continuous breathing. It calms down the child. So belly breathing is a fantastic tool that we can use. But you have to bring that child slowly.
Yeah.
When the child is screaming, crying, don't match up to their
Yeah.
decibel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remain calm.
Calm. Yeah.
They will slowly, they will realize, they'll slowly come down. Then operate from that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good tip
Yeah.
for people who say that. That's a nice one. So yeah, I think you touched upon many things. First thing, it starts from the diet, from sleep, and the guideline of that Shastric story. I forgot the name of the rishi. Yajnavalkya's story about that umbilical cord and what he whispered in the ears. I think people should search that sloka and have them printed somewhere and keep it in their room somewhere, and with the meaning, so that they know that this is what the goal is. Because that's, for me, it's like the ultimate goal. And then to achieve that, the guideline of Shreyas and Preyas and all of this diet and the sleep, I think we have covered the entire from objective of the goal, and to do things like practical things also. It's not like we have just given very abstract ways of things. You have actually beautifully given even the practical steps to do it. And it all depends on the situation of the...
See, ultimately, what we are doing here, Praveen, with incorporating yogic techniques into parenting, we are actually increasing what we call this spiritual quotient of the child.
Yeah.
So what is the spiritual quotient of the child? The child ultimately should come to a place where it needs to believe in itself.
Yeah.
They need to have that confidence. They need to find the divinity within themselves. That is extremely empowering.
Yeah.
They need to have gratitude. They need to incorporate karma yoga into their life, and they need to have compassion.
Yeah.
If this is done, I am not talking about IQ and EQ and everything. SQ, I think, is for the world tomorrow, where we are on the verge of a mental health pandemic.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
It's already there.
It's already there.
And you mentioned SQ.
SQ is spiritual quotient.
Spiritual quotient, okay.
Yes.
I get it. Nice.
So, I think we need to develop that.
Yeah.
And another thing, I would like to mention is, for the mind, the best tool is a mantra. Okay. So what is a mantra that you can use for any child? Is a Omkara.
Yeah.
Omkara is more than sufficient.
It's actually sound healing.
Sound healing. Yeah. Yes, it is sound healing. So it improves the attentive power of the child, and one needs to incorporate that. So you can also sit with the child and just listen to that, or chant with the child.
Yeah.
So that can be done.
Nice.
Yeah. In an age where we push our children towards listening to Bollywood or any filmy tracks, where they are dancing to Sheila Ki Jawani or Oo Antava, things like that. It is extremely derogatory. We are victimizing the children. We are making them dress like adults. We are introducing them to adult content, and they don't even know what it means, and we are applauding them when they come on screen and do these things on reality show. It is extremely dangerous.
Damaging. It's very
damaging. We don't realize that it's not just at that level, but also subliminally we are, when girls do this, we are telling them that it is acceptable to be objectify a woman. It is fine to have that patriarchy and accepting that patriarchy. See, all these layers to such exposure we don't realize. And we also tell the child that it is cool.
I mean, in the name of talent and recognition and popularity, this damage is also happening.
So,
talent should be encouraged, but obviously in a much more balanced way than
there is no hurry to make the children grow up too fast. Let them enjoy their childhood.
Correct. So, as a parting shot, do you have anything specific to tell the audience? I mean, you have given so many nuggets, but do you want to end this with a nice note?
See, you can't compare a mango tree with a coconut tree, isn't it? So don't compare children. Every child is unique, and it is on us to nurture them.
Give that time
for them to grow, organically, and not push the process too hard. Going from one class to another class post school is not parenting.
That is outsourcing.
Correct. All I want to tell the parents is give some time to pause, give some silence in a child's life. Let them think. Let them not be just consumers of various things. They need to think, and for that thinking process to occur, you need to give them some silence. There can't be too much noise. So then, it never occurs. So as parents, we need to make sure that this process is on, where I can slow down, I can give that silence, I can, it's okay to feel bored. It's absolutely fine to.
Today.
Yes, the moment the child says, I am bored, what are the things, that comes up.
The world comes down.
And what switches on. So, allow them to get bored. Why I say this is, it's okay to do nothing, because it is in that mental space that you start becoming creative. You start moving towards things that you feel totally connected to. You need to give that space and silence.
That is where creative energies come up, I think. Right? Because when you're bored, you start thinking something, and then you start creating something on your own. That's great. So
it's fine to feel bored. It's fine to feel hungry sometimes.
So many small nuggets, right? Everyday life. That's nice. So thank you so much, Manasa ji.
Thank you so much, Praveen. It was lovely talking.
I hope people take these small nuggets from my podcast and then take it to life, and also provide feedback on the comment section, and also
I'd love to read that.
Definitely follow your channel on Instagram also, and see what all you do there, right? So I'm sure it'll help many people out there. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Thank you.